How you doing?
Good, good. Is that your otter.ai?
Yeah, I snagged it this month, so I figured I'd try it. See how it goes. Hi, Jamie.
Hi, long
Hello.
time no see.
Long time.
Joel, I don't think we've ever met.
I don't think we have. It's nice to meet you.
Mhm. How this group has changed. Hi, Marc-Antoine.
Hello.
Hi, Jamie.
So what is the otter AI? I actually haven't
It's a note
Just
looked into
taking.
no
And
taking.
transcriber.
Oh,
Transcriber. One of the many.
cool.
One of the first, I think.
The first one I heard about. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking of starting to put these transcriptions in that Rome network notebook that I had the canonical debate white paper in. And I'm just going to keep a running list and start making connections between the topics we talk about and what have you. So
Cool.
that's going to be the idea.
Yeah. So I don't know if we have an agenda. Like last time we spoke a lot about AI but Tim was there to talk about it and he isn't today. I think he said he couldn't be here. So I'm a bit, well, we'll see what happens.
I certainly have things I could share, especially since I don't know Michael that well, and I do not know Joel at all. Hey, Bentley. Oh, I'm so glad Bentley's on. I have something to ask you, but I'll DM it.
Excellent.
Yeah,
for
Jamie,
it.
I'm interested in hearing about what you posted in the Slack. That would be cool.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess I'll just like whip up a little quick presentation then, like maybe talk for like 10 minutes so you all get to know what we're doing.
Yep.
Cool. Okay,
Cool.
so I'm from the Society Library. I also run a department at the Internet Archive. The department at the Internet Archive is called Democracy's Library, and it's an effort to collect as many of government, as in municipal, state, and federal government documentation, research, records, publications, information, data sets, you name it, as possible, to collect as many of those as possible. But the Society Library is a collective intelligence organization that uses deliberation as a means of truth seeking. And so we're one of the founders of CDL, actually. I haven't been around for a little while, but it is through CDL that we found Venrix, who is the creator of Debate Map. And for the past couple of years, he's been working with us to update his open source software towards what is called the Society Library Standard. So a very specific standard by which we organize information. I can quickly share my screen if that works for you guys to show you a little bit what we're talking about. The Society Library as an institute does a number of different things. We have in the past computationally deconstructed and reconstituted legislation that was a contract with an organization that actually brought that legislation to Congress, if I'm not mistaken. We also have created political decision-making models where we essentially deploy our methodology of extracting arguments, claims, and evidence from media and constituting those into decision-making models for city council members to use. So that's a project that we've done. But like in general, we've created this method. This presentation is not going so well. I've done this pitch so many times, and yet I've decided to customize it for y'all, and it's going terribly. But anyway, we created a method to extract arguments, claims, and evidence from 12 different forms of media. This is a methodology that we've taught to students at 32 universities, and this is used to inform the legislation that we create, the decision-making models that we make, and also the debate maps that we create. So let me just quickly share a screen. All the things we do. This is the Society Library website. Yay. So we build libraries. The libraries and debate maps are kind of one and the same. There's a little bit different visualizations and slightly different priorities. The multimedia libraries is really about emphasizing to make sure we have comprehensive media artifact representation of claims in our database. I'll show you a little bit about that. Mapping public debates is more about like the actual ontological structure of the data. We do decision making, as I said. We have like some virtues and values that we try to put out there in the world. We create educational programs, like for example, the International Fact Checking Network, which accreditates the world's fact checkers, has hired us to create an educational curriculum to teach the world's fact checkers here's the Society Library context checking methodology. But we've done, I think, 8 different programs at 32 universities, just kind of teaching them like epistemology and argument mapping and things like that. We also perform bespoke like research services so people can contract us. And as long as it falls within our nonprofit's mission, we can execute a research grant. We also, tinker with visualizations and blah, blah, blah. Let me show you what it actually looks like to have a debate map. If it will load. Oh, there we go. Oh, it's because it's unpacked. Okay. So this is a somewhat unpacked, I can like see it unpacking a little bit. So this is a debate map that we created about the last remaining nuclear power plant in California. So here's the question. We were given a grant to map the argument about what should happen to the last remaining nuclear power plant in California. We found there's about 9 different positions that people take. Here's position 1, the Diablo Canyon nuclear power plant's license should expire and the plant should be decommissioned as scheduled. We found like up to like, let's say, just quick back to the napkin, like at least like 60 different arguments supporting that, which all break up into further arguments to support that and evidence to support those. So we cluster them into categories. So here we have economic arguments, environmental arguments, safety and well-being arguments, energy related arguments, ethical and education related arguments, and political arguments. We can unpack, any one of these or repack them. I was giving a little demo earlier, so I've unpacked economic. These are all the economic arguments that support why the nuclear power plant should close. And so if we unpack the top one, which is that market forces, financial incentives, and financial incentives have made the Diablo Canyon nuclear power plant redundant, non-competitive, and undesirable. We can unpack that and see what that means based on market forces. Oh, we're talking about consumer demand. Great. Here's an argument about consumer demand. Oh, we don't show the media. The media should always show. Note to self. We just made a little UI change, and I really like it when the media auto shows note to self. Anyway, so this is the actual argument about consumer demand, and we break down every premise in that argument to be debated further and further and further. Weep. And so, and furthermore. So anyway, if we were to actually this is just one tiny little logical pathway of all these different logical pathways, of all the potential categories of logical pathways, of all the potential positions of logical pathways. And this is something that has been done meticulously by hand, for the most part. Some of the argument extraction has been done with some AI tools. We've created custom search engines and feeds and streams and things like that. But we recently got a grant to do this exact same process and create a map of AI argument, AI alignment, safety, and X-risk issues. We're still determining what dimension of that particular issue we're focusing on. But one of the things that we're looking to do is automate our process as much as possible so that it goes by a little bit more quick. And so that's kind of what we're looking for now is who can help us automate some of our tools. And not all of it is just incorporating GPT-4. Some of it is, hey, it would be so great if someone augmented hypothesis and hooked it directly up to debate map, such that when we're looking over web pages, we can just auto deposit data in a semi-structured way in our debate map. So we are looking for help in that regard in case anyone out there wants to help us and is great at web plugins and stuff. And then also another quick thing I'll show you, because Joel, Michael, I don't think you've seen this. This paper, this thing that we call Society Library Papers, is actually all the data that's in the knowledge graph. So everything that's in this, in this knowledge graph is represented in this paper, but instead you click on words and sentences. So in this one, I'll essentially the categories and the positions are combined into one natural language sentence. And you can expand that by clicking on the word economic, and then it'll give you a high level summary of all of the arguments that are essentially right here. But in narrative form, so you can read it. You can see tags. This one says could be outdated. This claim may be outdated. Conditions may have changed since the claim was made. And then you can click on sentences and unpack them. You can switch to different versions of that. You can explore, see if there's anything interesting, see the references, for example. And yeah, I think this particular data set came from 5,000 unique sources. So we were pulling together the arguments and claims from 5,000 unique sources, all contributing to this mapping and understanding of what should we do with this nuclear power plant for reasons across various dimensions. So that's a little, thing that we're all up to at the Society Library, which is, a founding member of CDL, big old fans. But we haven't been here in a while, and I just want to touch base, especially since we're in like a transition period. And like, if anyone has any spare time to support the work that we're doing on this AI alignment stuff and want to partner in any way, that would be super helpful, because this, this topic is moving fast, in terms of like being of high interest to people around the world.
Very cool. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
In terms of
Yeah.
the Society Library standard and the method you use, is that viewable somewhere in terms of like what the standard is or the method?
We wish. So one of the things, we have $150,000 matching grant opportunity currently, because there's three things that I want. I want engineers to AI engineers to essentially automate our pipeline as much as possible and create the tools we need for a more seamless pipeline to create these maps. 2, I want a technical writer, and 3, I want like a comms community person to like also kind of be like somewhat of a development director and be like helping us find like granting opportunities. So this is what I call an infrastructure package. And a donor of ours put up 150K. We just have to raise the other 150K. So I want a technical writer, in part so we can share the Society Library standard, share more of our methodology. Like, I just personally don't have time to be writing this in like a suitable, like shareable format, so it's just, and the documentation would help with onboarding and stuff instead of me teaching analysts. We have some documentation, but it's not like, if someone looks at it, they're not going to get the method. Like, there really needs to be like robust documentation and like things like that. And we just don't have the staff or capacity to make that yet.
Interesting. Yeah, I'd be excited to see that when it comes out. And especially, are you going to share what the method you use in terms of the AI extraction? Like, once that is complete, is that going to be open source? Is that going to be something you guys kind of keep?
Good question. I mean, we've always kind of been like on the fence when it comes to open source things. Just because like, one, we'd love to be open, but we're just like such a young, fragile kind of organization. And like, some of our advisors have even stated that like they've experienced putting open source work out there, and then a larger firm kind of coming in, augmenting the work slightly, branding it, like making money off of it. And it kind of like prevents them from continuing to do the work themselves. So like, definitely align with the spirit of keeping things open. If we're in a more comfortable financial position, we'd be much more happy to be open. But just in the meantime, I think like we're just a little too like tender and like vulnerable to just be like giving away everything.
That makes sense. Yeah. And in terms of, last question, in terms of the manual effort it took to extract all those claims, is that usually from student interns, or how does that, do you hire people for that? Or
we did hire people for that. So we actually hire librarians. They're totally underrated data scientists, and they love meticulously like labeling data and entering it into databases. Hey, Jack, long time no see. Hey. So we hire librarians for this Diablo Canyon project. It was 4 full-time analysts, 2 part-time ones for 8 months for $80K. You're muted, Michael.
I have my keyboard shortcut. I was on the wrong thing, but that's cool. Thank you. That's all I say.
Yeah. So I don't know. I do have to bounce in preparation for another meeting soon. What's going on with y'all?
That's a long question.
Okay, lots of talking.
Yeah,
Theorizing.
we're always arguing about argumentation. So yeah, I think Mark and Tawans have been doing the most progress. I just give you a quick update. I'm gonna try and make some videos walking through pros and cons and bouncing between the two sides, showing the evidence and showing a score as you apply the evidence. So we'll see how that works. Michael's going to help me with some of that research. So he's doing that. And he's also going to try and implement some AI in our process to like scour for pros and cons and stuff. So that's also why he's peppering you with questions.
Cool.
So he might be a good resource for you to reach out to also.
Yeah,
so that's what I'm up to. I don't know if anyone else wants to give a update or see what they're working on.
Mark Antoine and I kind of dialogue a lot. But wait, Bentley, do you do web plugins? Have you done web plugins before?
Yeah, browser plugins or
Yes.
web plugins? Or well,
Browser
actually,
plugins.
yes to all the questions. Yeah, I'm supporting one for a small company right now already. So
Do you have,
professional web plugin developer.
do you have experience with Hypothesis?
I've used it. The API looks pretty simple, so it shouldn't be hard.
Okay, I'm gonna DM you.
All right, hit me up.
Okay, yay. Okay, before I bounce for my next meeting, because I definitely should finish reading their white paper before it. Anyone else want to share what's going on in the world of CDL? I'm hoping to attend more. Miss y'all.
Yeah, we'd love to have you. We've just
This-
been bringing Joel and Michael up to speed mostly, and
Yeah, the CDL's been a bit weird in the sense that Tim's been too
slow.
busy, Steven's
about-
disappeared,
Steven's
Uh,
know about Felix.
Felix disappeared, or I think they're doing their own thing on the. So we get Carl from time to time. He's not here today. We've lost a lot of momentum after the publication of the
Maps Master.
the maps map. I think that was a bit of a death knell for our momentum in some weird way.
Which is weird because we won a prize.
I know, but nothing came out of it really.
It's true. That is very true. However, you know, I'm still close with those folks. Like at least the Foresight Institute, I'm pretty close with. And I mean, here's the thing. I think there seemed to be some kind of like communication barrier. Like this group has such expertise. We've amassed so many resources. I mean, my God, if we could just export like some of our Slack channels, like what incredible sets of resources in terms of funding opportunities, comparable projects, interesting papers, you know, like there's a lot there, but like we just have a comms issue. Like we won this constructive criticism prize, but we haven't been able to like sincerely get across like why like some sort of consortium project between us is worth investing in. And I know I run into communication problems with the Society Library as well. Like, I don't know what it is, but I want a comms person to like kind of help overcome that. Like maybe it's just like I'm not listening well enough to like tap into the zeitgeist of what people are caring about, to like connect what we're doing with what they're interested in. But like it seems like CDL also has that problem, which is just, you know, churning wheels, not able to get support to go anywhere.
Most of the projects volunteer and passion based are having that continuous struggle. I almost want to see if we can find some communication experts that everyone could pool money together and pay just to help us get our stuff together.
And I've never been able to inspire you all to just quit and join me. Although I have tried.
No,
Well,
that's not true. We have.
I have tried.
We've done. No, it's not true that you haven't inspired us all. We've done a lot of work.
It's true, but you haven't, you know, well, I can't afford you all anyway.
yeah,
Yeah.
I was about to say. I'm available.
Yes,
For
exactly.
20 hours a
DMing
week.
you.
It's not full time.
Fair. Cool.
Well, yeah,
The-
you can't
the-
afford me full time.
I wish I could. I can't afford anyone.
When you
full-time.
can, I'll be here.
Cool.
Unless you find someone better, which is possible. So we'll see.
Man, it would make my dream come true if our tiny little crew could just like come together and like work on stuff. That would be so heartwarming.
The other thing that's been happening, yes, coming up to speed, and I think in the alignment problem, well, this is something we'll all discuss, but in the communication problem, sorry, alignment is a bit ambiguous. Also, people's attention is not on what we're trying to solve. And we have to explain why it's relevant to that. That way, last week's conversation was important because it was about connecting the problem of connecting the CDL perspective with what's happening with AI, which I think there's a strong connection. And,
Absolutely. Yes.
But getting people to see and understand the connection is definitely a marketing issue. But we also have to, a lot of what we're doing, as you know, requires a lot of work, either crowdsourced or you know, from an army of interns. And that means showing people the results is not easy. I mean, that way you have some of the most important results. Jack and I are still working on SenseCraft. Bentley is working on his system. Carl is working on his system. There's a lot of work still happening.
Yeah. I gotta go.
Okay.
But I plan on attending again. So it was nice to meet
Thanks for
you,
stopping by.
Joel. Huh?
Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah. All right. Cheers, guys.
Cheers. Ciao.
The amazing Jamie Joyce.
No, I'm glad you
Uh,
could meet her. Joel, I'm surprised you didn't. Joel and Michael, I think you should have said what you were doing. I mean, she doesn't know you that well.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. I guess I wasn't sure how, like, what CDL is doing, if like that fully counts, but I guess probably could have shared. Yeah.
I felt the same way. I'll send her a message, I think, because it'd be good
I
to
think it's
connect.
the thing to do. Yeah.
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 Yeah, anything, any side projects we're all doing that have anything to do with debate is, so that falls under the lab. So we're a whole bunch of independent artists.
Right.
That's
Right.
cool. But yeah. Anyone have any hot topics for this week that are on top of mind?
Not as such. I've been busy with other things, including some work for Jamie, including doing my taxes and other nice stuff. So
Bentley, I remember a while ago, I forget, I don't think I asked this, but you had, we were talking with the OGM about creating a list of tools. I was wondering if that ever materialized or how that went, or,
Yeah, they've been working on that. Yeah, so there's kind of a working group, and they use as their system. They're communicating on can't remember the name of the tool that they're using, but they have their own chat thing, and they are, let me see. There's so many things in here. Yes, I can get you in touch if you want to work with them. What they're doing right now is they're using something called Massive Wiki, which is kind of a markdown wiki system. They use Obsidian kind of as their editor, most of them, and then they're creating pages for each thing, and people can put their scores on like 5 or 6 different metrics that they brought together, and that's kind of how they're doing it.
is that online now?
Yes. They have a starter. I don't think they've got everything hooked up yet. But they have a little demo. So let me find that while we're chatting here. Any other topics while I'm looking for that?
I guess I recently was finally got to Googling about just problem ontologies and like the types of categories for problem information. I feel like I couldn't really find a whole lot. I don't know if you guys have any like recommendations for that kind of thing, but just
sorry,
like,
what's the question?
so
Ontologies and what?
like specifically ontologies of problems and like solving problems, information related to that, because that's kind of like what I'm trying to model. Like right now I just have like solutions and problems and like solution components and criteria, but I kind of expected to find more just by searching like ontology of problems.
Oh, that's an interesting category. Yeah, I haven't seen that because most ontologies, almost by definition, are problem specific.
Right.
And I don't think that there's such a thing as an ontology of problem types, but that's actually an interesting way to approach it. But yeah, and I think ontologies are intra-domain
Per domain, right? I see.
problem domain. There can be an ontology of problems within a problem domain, mind you, but otherwise you're looking at the ontology of domains, which could be fascinating, but is another beast, and I don't think it's been done. I mean, we have topical ontologies, right? I mean, when are, for example, topic taxonomies such as those used by libraries, Library of Congress, Dewey, yada yada yada, those are topic taxonomies, and in a way, it's an ontology of domains, but not in the way you mean. So it's interesting. Right. And the other angle of that is an ontology of problems will also match with an ontology of solution procedures, not necessarily solutions, but you see what I mean, like resolution procedures, like how do I attack this type of problems?
Right.
And those, again, fascinating question. I don't know. No, see, Michael, this is all argument, like argument stuff is there, like the IBIS or Tillmans, or frankly, the argumentation schemas. The AIF is the most advanced argumentation schema ontology. And that is there, and that may be relevant in a certain way. It's how to think about arguments, pros and cons, and is that a good argument for this or that? Right? That's there, but it's not the same as what are the problem types, such as, is this, for example, problem that will be solved by a simulation, and then like as in finite element simulation or ODE simulation, or that kind. Like, do we have a dynamical model for this situation? That's a type of problem, and then it's an optimization problem. So that's one kind of. There's another type of problem that is more at the, what are even the categories? Are you aware of Cognitive Edge's Cinefin framework?
Cinefin. I don't think so.
Okay, that's really interesting. It's Cinefin.io, but that's not really. Let me find the Wikipedia, because it does explain what it is in a intro.
Cinefin.co.
There's .io, but but I wanted. Oh, that's interesting. Main wiki for Tool for Thoughts. There's a new one. Oh, that's the work you've been doing. Excellent.
Yeah, you're familiar with that already.
Yeah, thank you. So
Let's
this
put
is
that in for Michael's question of interrupting.
Yeah. So if you look at the Cinefin framework of and just look at the image.
Oh, right. I've seen this. Yeah.
You've seen this?
Like
yeah.
known knowns, known unknowns, unknown unknowns, and then the whatever the last one is.
It's like that, and it's not like that, but yeah, that's close. There's best practice. We know what to do to clear, right? We know the problem. We just has to categorize the situation in the right known problem slot to apply the recipe. Complicated, we're still figuring out the recipes, but we have the conceptual framework of research. It may be difficult, but we know what the types of problem are, and we're doing research on the solutions within a paradigm. Complex, it's like, so what traditional complexity science and complex systems would go more into complicated, because we kind of know what the systems are, like feedback loops and chaotic dynamic. It's still kind of in the complicated domain, not complicated dynamic, but complex dynamics. And when you get the complex domain is more about, we've no clue what's going on. There's too many forces at hand. We can't analyze. There's no formula. The best thing we can do is probe and kind of see what's emerging and sense and respond when something is emerging that we want or we don't want. And the example Snowden gives for that is, you have a party with kids. What you want to do, if there's a fight beginning, you want to break it up, and you can't tell the kids, we'll do this and then we'll do that and then we'll do that. You have a lot of games ready, and you see what game kids are drawn to, and then you help that game happen and you act as an umpire. But what they'll be drawn to, you cannot plan, and if you plan too much, the kids will be bored. So look at what's emerging. Sense and respond and encourage good patterns and break up bad patterns. And chaotic is, it's so chaotic you can't even count on sensing. So actually act, break through, get out, like change the situation so that you might be bumped into one of the other three domains where you can do something. And then there's confusion, because even those, there's a liminal space between all these domains. So that's one problem ontology, kind of. How do you think about the problem in the first place? I don't know if that's the kind of thing you're looking at.
Well, it's definitely an interesting thing that's relevant. Yeah, because I wonder, like tooling for problems might vary based on which realm these are in, and maybe there'd be some sort of tooling to transition between
Yes,
the tooling you're using based on information you find out in the complex stage or something like that. No, definitely interesting.
that's the closest I have. Like, as I said, AIF is great for the argumentation and the epistemic, and why do we know that, and why do we believe that, but for the problem solving, optimization, action, or research, it's something else entirely.
Right.
That outcomes graph used solutions and constraints, hypothesized solutions, hypothesized constraints, all backed by evidence. So that was their ontology for, I guess it's called outcomes, but you could map that to a problem as well, I believe.
Yeah. There's a whole, you're right. The whole work we did for Maps Map. What did I write about this, about problem ontology? I wrote something about this. Let me find it. I'll go on with the conversation. I'll find this.
So I can't tell if I've seen this before. The outcomes graph thing you linked. These questions look familiar. But I don't. This is from. What is this from? Deep Science Ventures.
Yeah, I just know about it because they were using the discourse graph extension. So there was a lot of similarities in terms of what we were doing and what they were doing.
Oh, I see.
Where did I put that? Anyway, not finding it, but I'll find it at some point.
So discourse. Wait. So is discourse graph?
The plugin for Roam Research, which is one of those network notebooks, kind of like Obsidian or LogSeq. And Discourse
Actually,
graph is just a
we used to
plugin
call
for it.
Obsidian a Roamish, because Rome was one of the first to break out on the
100%. Yeah.
And except Rome is closed source and very proprietary and pay and this and that. So I avoid it like the plague. Though, to be honest, it's one of the good ones. But have you seen Tana? Have you played with Tana?
I have, yeah.
I find it so much better.
It is incredible. They're still missing a lot of the base features that I would require, but I have no doubt they're gonna eclipse those very quickly.
Oh, that's interesting. So you have stuff in Rome that you miss in Tana? Curious what?
Surprisingly, yeah. I started with Rome when this whole thing, this whole network notebook tools for thought thing started breaking out. And then I moved all of my stuff to Obsidian for that same reason you were talking about. Now I'm back using Rome for the discourse graph. And I'm actually finding myself transitioning a little bit back, and because of the block-based block references. So using a bullet outliner and being able to be like, oh, this references that, and you just Control-Shift-C and Control-V, and then you have all of your notes linked down to the most atomic, other than specific words. But even those you could link if you wanted to, where that's not possible in Obsidian. Now, where Tana doesn't have is they don't have easy accessible multiplayer. Last I saw, maybe they changed that. And it's only online. It's not offline. They only have just a web app. They don't have a desktop app. I'm not sure about their mobile. I don't think it's very powerful. And yeah, so that's generally where I'm at with that, but it's very close to being, and they don't have plugins either. No one can go and just create a plugin for them. So you lose a lot of that.
Yeah.
What Obsidian is built off of, what Rome is built off of, like Zotero Rome, for example, to be able to integrate with.
That is fair.
Scientific
The lack
journals.
of plugin architecture is a killer for any of these machines.
But I imagine it's just any day that they come out with it. Like literally, it could be tomorrow that, oh, here's our plugin store. Go nuts. Like,
yeah. Tana, by the way, I was like, oh, they finally caught up with Tinderbox. Tinderbox was one of the first full tools for thoughts. We're speaking about 15 years ago, except it was not web. It was a desktop Mac application. It's still amazing. There's stuff in Tinderbox I've never seen anywhere else. But it's single user and hence very limited that way. But it's a beautiful single user app. I found the Google Doc where I wrote about Maps Map Entity. That was for the Maps Map challenge. So I said, expected outcome and blah, blah, blah. So I wrote this in that Google Doc ages ago.
we should create a embedded vector of all of the CDL documents, and then just create a chatbot against it and ask it all the questions. Because there's so many documents we have, but they're all, I find, very hard to surface.
That is so. What we need really is a Google Doc table of content with here's links to all the Google Docs. Like, forget the vector. The vector is good too, but the chatbot. What's my impression with chatbots is it's very hard to get them trained on a significant corpus. Like, you can give them a small corpus, but if you do the, I've spoken to people in OpenAI saying, oh yeah, really, if you do the, what's the operation you do to train it, it's so much dumber after training. Like the
Like fine-tuning?
the fine-tuning, yeah. The fine-tuning in a way lobotomizes the chat, the chatbot. And so it's not, I don't think we have a way to tune it to a big corpus yet.
Right. Yeah. My knowledge is very limited. I thought fine-tuning was based on like, here, respond in this way. But
yeah, no, that's fine.
the content is still hasn't been updated.
Yeah, but it's constraining it. It's not giving it more, hey, here's more background you should know and become free after that. It's, you're saying always work this way, so you're constraining it, so it loses a lot of freedom of creativity, imagination, yada, yada, yada. It's much dumber after that. It does exactly what you asked, but no more, no less. Fine-tuning is about constraining the search space. It's not about adding information, because that really becomes the real big training that takes mega machines to do. There's a lot of new research on doing transfer learning that uses the old one plus stuff into getting something else more or less cheaply, but it's not there yet from my limited understanding.
In terms of if you use like the vectors as the semantic search to
Oh,
then
that works.
add to the context, yeah.
Yeah.
It's actually quite expensive if you think about it. If you add like a 50-page context, that's can get, you know, $2 per question you ask type situation. So that can add up pretty quick. But
Yep.
it's at least something that you could do.
Oh, once again, the vectors as search I've done, but then I'm searching in the vectors. I'm not asking ChatGPT again. I'm just doing search in my own vectors.
So then you take that response that you got. So here's the vectors that are responded from your search, and feed that into the context and add your question to say, here's my question, use this context that I found from my giant corpus. So it's very specific.
But you're not giving the vectors, you're giving the relevant, the result of the search, which are
That's
sentences again. Yeah,
Yes,
it makes sense. Yeah.
Sorry, my terms are.
Yeah, makes sense. No, sorry, I'm just, oh, can you give vectors as context? Wouldn't that be interesting? That sounds like a great API endpoint. Yeah, no, I'm beginning to learn to use this stuff. I'm new to it. God, it's so, I need to unlearn a lot. Not so much what I have to learn, it's what I have to unlearn. Like, I'm so used to, I have everything on my machine and I don't call outside services because it's expensive. And yeah.
Let's get a 16 gigabyte virtual graphics card, virtual RAM. Then you can just run your own alpaca language model or something.
I'll probably download alpaca soon. I need to clean up my hard drive a bit. But the reality is I have Mac 32 gig. I should be able to run alpaca. Anyway, do we have other topics?
I don't have anything else. I've been busy with work and life.
Yeah, I think we're all busy with many other things.
It's interesting when the meetings go from Friday to Wednesday, because that's only a very small window between them.
That is so.
I still need to watch the last one. I didn't catch up with it.
Okay.
I saw there was a presentation there.
Oh yeah, I did present a bit of what I was doing. We said we'd get over it, but you know what? No, let's do that next Friday. I've been too busy with my own work stuff. Let's call it a day early, I think. No harm in, no need to push it.
Sounds good to me.
Great to see everyone.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, we'll see y'all next week.
Yep.
See you next
See ya.
week.